Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got a pretty full Tuesday night slate here. In this one, taking a look at the Lake Show hosting the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. LeBron is still a game time decision. Want to make sure you're checking who's in and out of those lineups pretty much all the way up until game time. But we've got some stuff to talk about in this one for sure. Nate has his great article up on playpicks.com as well with some best bets and player props in there for you. And make sure to like and subscribe to that page and check out those other couple videos we have for you today, including that player props video we'll look to stay steaming hot with tonight. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, Bucks are -4 right now. Haven't seen it much higher than that. The total does continue to creep up from opening around 230. Now it's at 232. And I just have a good feeling, combined with the fact that these teams have gone under in 7 straight meetings, that we are not going to get to that total. But let's look at the other 9 games on this Tuesday slate here. Big slate after a smaller Monday. We got Suns +1 at the Sixers. That'll be an intriguing game. Got to watch to see if the Suns sit anybody, though, after winning in Chicago last night. Total is 220 there. The Celtics are up to -7.5 in Brooklyn, and that total's at 215. We do break down that whole game in a separate episode today. Numbers definitely indicate they're going in opposite directions with the Nets on an 8-game skid here. Pacers are +10.5 at Atlanta. Indiana just traded away Karis LeVert. Wonder if they'll struggle to score. Certainly. And the Clippers +8 at Grizzlies. Clippers just acquired Norman Powell and Robert Covington, but they won't be ready tonight. Rockets +9 at the Pelicans. Pistons are +11 at Mavericks. Knicks +8 at Nuggets. The Wolves are -5 at the Kings, and the Magic are a pick'em at Orlando. Looking at this Bucks game, though, I think this is the most confident bet of the night. Though, even if LeBron James plays, the Lakers are just not a team you're going to want to back right now. They've lost 4 of their last 6. LeBron missing for a lot of those games, but with him back on Saturday, they still needed a triple-double from Bron, 40 minutes of play on a swollen knee to overcome a 21-point deficit and beat the Knicks in overtime. That's a long way from being able to hang with the defending champs, who I think it's more about them. I mean, I'm not saying that the Lakers can't compete with anybody, but the Bucks, you look at the parallel last year on March 2nd, they lost by 31 points to Denver. After that, they went on an 8-game win streak. Of course, they went on to win the NBA title. They've lost by 36 points to Denver on January 30th this year. Since then, they've won 3 straight games, averaging 128 points per game in those 3. And you look at their last 3 road games, also pretty impressive, 124 points per game. On the road in general, they have the 4th best offensive rating, 11th best defensive rating, 3rd best shooting percentage. But still, I mean, their road games average 223. And the Lakers, this total is set almost as if we're looking at the Lakers of the first couple months of the season, where they just wanted to run up and down and didn't realize their age. And now they've slowed it down considerably. They have a pace of 98 since Christmas, and they've gone much slower, in fact, against some teams at home. You look at some Eastern Conference matchups, in fact, where they're going between 92 and 96. You can throw out those Atlanta Hawks games with a blazing pace in those, the 2 that they've faced. But otherwise, the Lakers, giving up under 110 since getting Anthony Davis back in the lineup. The pace goes even slower. Their offensive rating was worse initially with AD as they try to get him acclimated. So I have no problem taking the under here or using it in a teaser with this game or another one. You get the Bucks at a pick'em and you get under 236. Feel really good about that. But the last meeting, I mentioned they went under in 7 straight despite Giannis putting up monster numbers. And you look no further than the last meeting where he went 47 points on 18 for 23 field goal shooting. And it was still a 109-102 game because he was really asserting his will on both ends of the floor. LeBron did not play in that game. So, I mean, his presence is certainly going to facilitate more offense, I would think. But Anthony Davis has not been very good against the Bucks, 18 points in consecutive meetings now, and a lot of that has to do with Giannis taking on the challenge on the other end. There is some pride here for AD to bounce back after really just getting embarrassed by Giannis that the last time they went head to head there. But I'm going to back the two-time MVP and the Bucks, who are just rolling right now. I think, if you look at recently what Giannis has done against high-profile opponents, and this is the nightcap on TNT, high-profile game to say the least. I think the Bucks maintain their winning streak here and probably cover that 4-point spread, as well as probably play some pretty good defense on a Lakers team that's struggling.
I think so. Yeah, I think, a Lakers team that's struggling, and I was kind of wondering, did things turn and change in any way since, AD's been back, specifically the last 6 games or so? And the answer is not really. He's gone up. He's finally back to just playing, his normal minutes at about 35 a game in his last 6, averaging, really, really solid numbers there, about 27 points and 11 and a half boards in that time frame. So I think he's somewhat back on the offensive end, but then you look at what you said right away, what he does against Giannis and those Bucks. I always thought maybe he had been impacted in the past by Brook Lopez not playing, but he also missed one of those last 2 games. Did Brook that AD scored those 18 points against the Bucks earlier this season? So I think the thing to look at here. You kind of mentioned you didn't love talking about the total, but then you really gave some great reasons why this is going to go under. To be honest, because 230.5 seems like a lot for a Lake Show team that has turned it around a smidge, at least on defense, and at home is at least a bit better on defense, at 13th best defensive rating there. And actually, bottom 10 offensive rating at home as well. They have gone over due to their propensity to play a bit faster at home with the 4th fastest pace in the league. But at the same time, you consider if LeBron is playing or not tonight. And if he does not play, then I love this under just so much. If he does play, I'm still liking the under way more. But it's still, now you get into the fact that, as you mentioned, LeBron has played very well against the Lake Show, as of late, mostly because he has to, as AD's not doing anything, and Giannis is crushing them, so really he has no choice but to start to get his. In his last 4 versus them, he's averaging about 31 points a game, shooting 51-40 splits, 83% from the line, which is good for him as well. So, the other thing that scares you about going under right away is just that Chris and Drew on the Bucks both play way better offensively on the road, both scoring about 2 more points a game. Chris Middleton, wild. We've talked about this before, but his 3-point splits are crazy. He shoots 42% from 3 on the road and 34% at home. So, obviously way better there. But at the same time, Giannis scores 6 points less a game on the road, probably because he's seeing those guys shooting well and facilitating a bit more as well for him, taking a few less shots. So, he's still going to be super efficient. He's still playing a team that he loves to dominate because they have 0 matchup for him. There's nobody in between, a Dwight Howard and then, anybody else. Everybody else is going to get back down to like the Carmelo Anthonys of the world and guys like that who might even have a shot at being big enough to stay with him. But there's really nobody, obviously, in the league at this point that you feel good about guarding Giannis. But especially on this team that we've talked about all season for them is they don't have any more perimeter or wing defense, and they really have no tweeners, to handle a guy like Giannis or help out. Even like a Kyle Kuzma, who at least stands at about 6'8", 6'9", can at least be strong enough and versatile enough to hang somewhat. And there's just nobody at this point. So you feel really good about Giannis getting his again against this team, and yeah, really just like you mentioned against the Knicks for this Lakers team, the game that they had to play on Saturday night where they had to come back from 21 points down and win in overtime. They've actually failed to cover their last 4 games after they play an overtime game. Not shockingly, when you look at the age on this team and how old the key contributors are for them at this point. So yeah, I'm still feeling really, really good about the Bucks no matter what, to be honest with you. 4 points, feel great about that. If you wanted to take that 4 with the under right away and parlay it, get plus 256 on your money at DraftKings, feel that. You could just take the money line and the under as well and go ahead and get that at around plus 205 right here. So either way, really, really good stuff. Maybe a few player performance doubles for the Bucks as well if you think that they are going to pull this out and you like to get it down to a money line pick.
Yeah, and the other thing with the Lakers is that they have not been they've not been shooting well. Obviously, that's really the thing all season because they have Russell Westbrook out there. He can't space the floor. And they shot 26% from deep against the Knicks. That's why they're down so much. the Knicks are really another team that emulates the Bucks style of saying, we're going to pack the paint and make you beat us from three, make certain guys beat us from three. And the Lakers have a lot of guys that you can let shoot threes, and LeBron James included. I mean, especially if he hasn't played lately, you're fine with him hoisting threes. And so I think on the other end, the Bucks are scorching from three, 42% over their last 3 games, scoring the second highest percentage off threes and the second lowest in the paint, which is interesting. And that plays right into how you would beat this Lakers team, which is given up an above average, about 13 triples per game at home on the season. So I think there's the first and foremost, you got to like the Bucks to win this game. And I think they can cover a 4-point spread. And that's really why I don't trust that the Lakers are going to be able to return fire as much. Certainly not if LeBron's out. You're absolutely right. If you see LBJ is going to sit this one, then you should hit that under right away. I would still hit those teasers you mentioned right away anyway, because I just don't think we're going to see a game in the 120s here. That's not the way these teams have played, and that's not the way the Lakers have played since they got Anthony Davis back.
Yeah, no, agreeing with everything you're saying. And the last point I would make, because I did, end my last spiel with player performance doubles that are available on FanDuel. Wow, you can still get plus 134 on your money for Giannis to get a double-double. I don't think we live in a universe where he doesn't get 10 rebounds tonight, and I don't think there is a universe that he doesn't get 10 points tonight. So plus 134 on your money for this team to win the game. If I can get them at a money line where, if LeBron is in this game, you have a fourth quarter presence that if Russ is not shooting, and hopefully Frank Vogel keeps keeping him off the floor at crunch time minutes, then you feel really good about LeBron being able to hang at least and keep his team really close in the fourth with this Bucks team. But I still do think that the Bucks have too much on their side of the ball to win. So finding that money line win and that player performance double, especially with that double for him to win, you could get him to, or Chris Middleton as well, to get 20 points, which he averages about 23 a game on the road, and a win is plus 200. So a lot of juicy player performance doubles here on FanDuel that I would definitely check out. LeBron James's props are still up, meaning that some people obviously in Vegas still think he's going to be playing tonight. So definitely make sure you keep an eye on that, because everything will just swing wildly, even if it's about an hour before the game starts. So you want to stay on top of all that stuff with us. And that is all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page, and check out those other couple videos we've got up for you today on this big Tuesday night slate. And until we see you next, happy betting.